Hello, you are welcome to class again. And in today's class, we are going to be looking at the continuation of informal letter. If you remember in our previous class, we looked at the skeletal part, we looked at the address, the date, the salutation, and the closing, probably a little bit of the introductory paragraph. As you can see here on the screen now, those are the few things that we did. Now today, you've been asking, how will I develop the body of the letter? It's one thing to know how to write the address, yes, the date, the salutation, but you need to learn how to develop the body of the letter, and that is where your mark is. And of course, remember, you are given 50 marks here. In the next video, we're going to be looking at how the examiners assess our essay. However, today let's look at how to achieve 450 words, how to build content, how to develop your letter such that you are answering the question and at the same time you are achieving the length. So what are the things you're supposed to do? Let's get to class quickly. All right, you've seen the date, you've seen the address, you've seen the salutation. Now we are talking about body of the letter. Mind you, we have the margin there, everything is neat. Now you want to develop the body of the letter. Now the first thing you do is to think about your point first. What are the things I'm going to be discussing? What is the question talking about? For instance, you may be asked to write a letter. Let's take a very simple one to your friend who is in another school, discussing 3 changes when you resume school, or 3 things you desire to change in your school by resumption. You are going back to school in a new term, in a new session, and you desire to see at least 3 things. Now you want to discuss that. So the first thing you do is outlining. So let's get to that before we come back here. Let's look at outlining. You just learn how to do basic outline, very simple. So you write first paragraph somewhere at the back of your script in a sheet of paper provided for you in the exam. So you go by first paragraph. What do? You call it introduction. Let your first paragraph be your introduction, so you know that you are putting the introduction in the first paragraph. The second paragraph there will be the first point. The second paragraph will be the first point. Now you need to be very fast with this because you know it's not part of the time. No examiner will tell you use 5 minutes for your outlining, and it's not what the examiner wants to see or mark. So the third paragraph is your second point. The fourth paragraph will be your third point. Then the fifth paragraph will be the conclusion. It's advisable to write a 5-paragraph essay. With this, you are going to achieve your 450 if you develop it very well. However, you are not restricted to 3 points. In case you have 4 points, it's fantastic. So let's talk about these paragraphs. Now, you think of an introductory paragraph. Now, what do you put in your introductory paragraph? Okay, you want to greet, you want to introduce why you are writing the letter. Probably you want to state 1 or 2 points in your letter. All this together in a paragraph. Then there you think of your point 1, how to develop it, point 2, point 3, then you think of your conclusion. Now, we are writing a letter to our friend in another school, telling him or her 3 changes we desire in our school when we resume. So what's the first one? Probably you want a new math teacher or English teacher. Then you can discuss that. So let's put that there in our mind. Second point, of course, you write it down, not just in the mind, so you won't forget. Second point, you want your school to purchase a new school bus. You are tired of the rickety bus that stops anywhere on the road and you come late to school. You're thinking about that one, and then you need to develop your points around that. And thirdly, you want your school to change the class for the SS3 students or for the SS1 student, for the SS2 student, depending on which class you are. You want to move to the new block. I mean, just imagine something new or any point you think about. So you've done that one. So let's go back to the body of the letter now. Let's go back there. So here now you haven't done that. At the beginning, you now come with the greetings. Now, how do you start your letter? There is no hard and fast rule to this. you can choose to go ahead and start with your point and say something like, I write to discuss the changes I desire to see in my school. Fantastic. You can start by greeting and go by, how are you? It's a pleasure writing to you. I write to, and then you go ahead and discuss your point. All right, so now here we are. You have your introduction now. So I'm going to read it quickly. How are you? It's a pleasure writing to you after a long time. I write to discuss the changes I desire to see in my school next term. I shall discuss these in the paragraphs below. Now you can choose to stop here and even state some of the points before you say, I shall discuss this in the paragraphs below. It all depends on you. And if you are not skillful at that, please kindly leave it. It is not compulsory you state your point here. You've already stated the purpose of writing the letter, which is okay. However, it is fine. If I'm writing my own, I can find a way of stating my point in the paragraph. But because this is general for everyone, I think this is just okay. So when you get to this point now, I will advise you as a candidate or in any exam, kindly stop at this point. Okay, then remember you want to achieve 450 words. We have our goal. 450 words is our goal. Then you stop here. I stop here. Then I come to the first line and I count how many words I have in the first line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, it's too short for me, but that's fine. Now you can count the first line. Whatever you get, use it to divide 450. Or you count the first 3 lines. 6, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 plus 8, 14. 14 plus 9, that's 23. Then divide it by 3. Find the average. I think the average should be approximately 8. So that 8 now, you can use it to divide 450. I think I would like to go with that. Then you say divided by 8. Please do not write it on your script somewhere, because this is just a classroom. So somewhere there. However, let me clean it so I can have good, just as a good example. I believe you would 450 words. However, I am not encouraging you also to write on the margin, because the instruction says do not write on the margin. However, for this class now, let's just have it. Then when we do this division, I think we are going to have approximately 57. Now, if you have 9 words, you are going to have 50. If you have 10 words, you are going to have 45. If you have 7 words, you should have something in the 64, thereabout. Now, whatever you have, you now come back to the first line where you started the letter. Then count 54 lines. Of course, you are going to open to the other leaf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 57 lines. You count 57 lines and then put a sign at the 57th. At the 57th, you put a sign, something like this. It is okay. Okay, or a little sign, it may not be this obvious, such that when you are writing, you can see. So you remember you have your point already in the previous, somewhere kept there. You have your point. So you start developing one by one. So as you are writing, you can see that you are supposed to stop here. Before I come back to the body of the letter, let me quickly advise you. When you get here, write 2 or more lines. There is no crime in a long composition. But when it is short, you are going to be penalized. We are going to discuss all these in our next class, where we are looking at the criteria that we use in judging your essay. So let's continue the class now. Now, after your introductory paragraph, what do you do next? You are going to have what we call the bridge paragraph, the next paragraph. Now, the next paragraph must be very catchy and interesting. Now, how do you start? You don't need to start saying firstly. I mean, it's a cake. You can look for something interesting. I prefer this. You can say to start with. To start with. Remember, it's an informal letter. You are permitted to be free to a very large extent. And now mark it, I have to follow the same line of the margin. So don't do it haphazardly. It may affect your organization. So you have something like this to start with first and foremost, and then you have your letter. To start with, you can then go ahead with your letter. I would like my school to have I would like to have a new mathematics teacher or a new English teacher in my school. Then you tell us why you want a new teacher, tell us why you want a math teacher. You can even compare talk about the old teacher, talk about why you desire a new one, what you are going to gain, how you look forward to having someone new. Just talk about it, keep on talking about it. Don't be afraid of your grammatical errors. Of course, it will always be there, right, because you are still going to edit. Now when you get to the next paragraph, since you are still talking about the same point in the same line, you can say furthermore. You don't need to say secondly. So you can have another linker to start, and then you say furthermore. Furthermore. So it's a good linker, it's a good starting. Then if you get to the third point too, you can say in addition, you can say in furtherance of what you are discussing, you can say more so. Remember, when you write more so, you have two words there, more so, then you drop your comma. So this helps you to develop your paragraph. Remember, as you write, don't just write and state the point and leave it. Tell us something about the point, why you think the point is important, the effect the point will have on you, and how the point you are talking about will make sense to you and the reader there. Now, how do you conclude your letter? In your conclusion, you are permitted to greet, to joke a little bit, talk about something in the past a little bit, but don't let it be too extravagant or out of the point. Then you can equally ask your recipient to write back to you. So with that, remember, as you are writing, you can see your point. So as you can see it there, you know that, okay, I think I can write 10 lines more, 4 lines more, 5 lines more, then you conclude. However, there is nothing wrong if you write more than 450. The instruction says in not less than 450. So you can write that. All right, I believe if you observe all these instructions, you are going to have a fantastic time writing your letter. And this instruction here is not just for only informal letter. You can use the same thing for your formal letter. You can have it even in your article writing, your story writing. So in case you have any question, please kindly get into the comment section. We really enjoy your comment, we enjoy your contribution, we enjoy your feedback. Get there and drop it for us there. In no time, we are going to respond to your question. And do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you very much.